Texas, had blue eyes and golden hair. Beneath the Tennessee silver moon, we found a feeling we could share. And age made no difference. I'd been around and she was young.
Well, this is almost becoming a traditional thing for the second year in a row. My last interview for 2022 just happens to be Whiteside County's own Doug Allen Nash joining us over the phone from the road. Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, great to be here, and happy holidays.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and same to you. Wow, and you know, this has turned into a thing. Second year in a row with Doug Allen Nash, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, it's an honor. Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it.
You know, 2022, my gosh, it was busy for Doug Allen Nash and crew, and one of your favorite lines is, burning up some road, and boy, you did some road burning all right.
We were blessed at a lot of shows, a lot of outdoor shows, and you know, we just finished up, I think, 8 Christmas shows in 2 weeks and in 4 states. So from the Osthoff Resort in Wisconsin to the Item Resort Casino Showroom, and then over to the North Dakota, the Empire Arts Center, and then Breezy Point Resort, way up in the Brainerd Lakes area. And then we get a couple of corporate parties in there in between. So I was looking forward to Christmas week and some downtime. And I spent it in Whiteside County and some time in downtown Chicago. So it's great to always be back in my home state.
Well, you really covered the upper Midwest, Jackson Hole. You had a blast over there. I think you kind of like Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Man, I love Jackson Hole. I love Wyoming. I did a corporate show in Du Bois, and then we had the pleasure of doing a resort. Well, it was actually a dude ranch. A couple of shows out there last year. But, yeah, one of my favorite places on the earth is Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You would love it. Have you been there?
I have not.
Yeah, you would love it. You and the wife would love it there.
One of these days, I'll tell you that. So, hey, was it a first for you earlier in the year? I mean, you had a wonderful adventure off to Manhattan and a great venue there, the Cutting Room. How was that experience?
It was phenomenal. You know, it's just such a great room, and so many great entertainers have played there, from Loretta Lynn to John Carter Cash to Lady Gaga, and to be invited. My buddy Holt McConnell is an actor. He was just in a movie with Bradley Cooper. It was up for an Oscar here last year, and Holt got me the show, and with my publicist Debbie Severman Krolik out of Chicago. So you know, we had a wonderful time. We're going back again in 2023, and it's always great to be in the Big Apple, especially right in Manhattan, right in the heart of it all.
Oh yeah, yep, gotta love it. Now, known exclusively, for the most part, for your Johnny Cash tribute, and then added Neil Diamond. But I'll tell you, you give those folks up there at Breezy Point and surrounding areas a little bit of a twist. You got a lot of other music thrown in there, some Black Eyed Peas and some party tunes.
Yeah, thank you. We mix it up when I see the audience is ready to go and take it to a new level. We're ready to take it there with them. So it's an ultimate party band.
Certainly love that. Now, got a couple of new things coming up for 2023. I'm liking the title of this already through RFD TV, True Country. Tell us about that.
Thank you. Very blessed. Heather Miles had asked me to be on her show, some guest appearances. And True Country, it's filmed in Brady, Texas, at the convention center in front of a large audience. And she has a lot of great talent, a lot of national acts on the show. And it's been my first season working with her. As you know, I've done the Penny Gilley show prior, I was a regular for 2 years on the 21-22 season. So it's time to mix it up, and I've also been asked to appear in a motion picture. It's a Western, and we hope to start filming that in Nebraska this summer. So I've got a couple things in the making here, and actually in the film, and also on RFD TV, which of course I know a lot of your listeners listen into RFD TV.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yep. So do I. So does the wife. So, a Western, yeah, you're comfortable on a horse and with a Stetson and boots.
Yeah, we grew up with ponies and horses on the farm, and I've always kind of stayed riding through the year. I don't have any horses there now at the farm, but my cousin and I, with City Riverside, Iowa, we get out once in a while and get on his horses, and then of course every year I try to do a ride, and we've been did a couple of them out in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, like you said earlier, and then we did one in Cheyenne also, which I love. Wyoming, great horseback country.
And of course, you felt great for a couple of days after that, and walking was just normal, I suspect.
Yeah, well, I got bucked off actually. Believe it or not. And a great horse, and I rode a lot. I get back to the resort. I had to do a show that night, and the owner and everybody says, "Oh, you got bucked off racing." I don't believe it. You got bucked off this horse. And I'll tell you what, the funniest doggone thing in the world was I went back to Wyoming 3 months later. I said, "Hey, where's Raisin? They had to get rid of it. It bucked off 8 people." So I told you.
So it wasn't.
So luckily nobody got hurt. I landed on my head, probably the best place to land. I was out with the trail rider, 2 girls, and myself. And when I got up off the ground, and I never saw 2 girls with bigger smiles on their faces looking at me.
Jeez. Well, that's one way to meet them, I guess.
Yeah.
So, we're on the phone. My last interview of the year, Doug Allen Nash, and of course, well known for tribute and recognition of the great Johnny Cash, and that all started overseas with some USO tours you did, Doug.
Yeah, it did. It actually started in Korea, Camp Casey. We were doing an encore, and our demographics were 18 to 30, and I had some guys holler out Johnny Cash shortly after Johnny Cash died, and we broke into Folsom Prison Blues, and they just went absolutely crazy. And I told the guys, I said, when we get back to the States, I put together a Johnny Cash tribute show. Of course, I had been to his concerts, and I knew Johnny Cash as a fan, and it's taken us from Hollywood to Manhattan and everywhere in between, casinos all over the country and festivals. So Johnny Cash has been good to me.
And, you've done those great USO shows, and now you've a couple of other organizations with veterans have reached out to you. What are your plans with that? Well,
we raised $25,000 here a couple of years ago in an event for the veterans in Minnesota, and I had another company just reach out to me for a veteran show. But obviously 6 years overseas, 87 countries doing USO, MWR tours for our veterans. It's something that's close to my heart, and I don't think we can ever do enough for our veterans. We've donated to a lot of different veterans causes, and it's something that we're always open up to. So if you're listening out there and you got an idea in mind to raise money for the veterans, give me a shout. We'd like to hopefully work something up where we can help you out.
I know earlier in your course, you've got your favorite stringed instruments, guitars. You picked up a new one and gave it a particular name.
Oh, you're talking about my new guitar?
What do we call it? Red Rum?
Yeah, you have to remember the name now. Yeah. Go ahead. What is it?
Red Rum?
That's red rum. There you go.
Don't ask me how I did that.
Yeah, that was good. Should have been Crown and 7. Yeah. Or Tito's.
So, yeah, I think when I was reviewing some old photos of Johnny Cash, he had one that was close to that.
Yeah, you did. And then, of course, you got Willie Nelson, Stricker, probably the most famous. That guitar will end up in the Smithsonian. And we still follow the outlaw country of the 70s and 80s. And I'm a big Chris Stapleton fan and Charlie Crockett. And some newcomers coming along. And we just did some shows with Wendy Newcomer from Nashville. And her husband plays on the Grand Ole Opry as a guest, and she's singing the Grand Ole Opry also. And what a phenomenal talent! I'd like to turn my listeners on to her, your listeners too, Wendy Newcomer from Nashville. You ever get a chance to catch them at Roberts on Broadway? And I get down there from time to time, and they get me up, and I'll do a few songs with Wendy, and it's always a blast, entertaining and singing in Nashville. Just great people.
So, your huge part of your passion is a tribute to Johnny Cash, but it's also the people that come to see Doug Ellen Nash. Now, when you're up on stage, what do you look at? What do you see out there? What do you see?
A lot of times, a blurred light. I can't.
Hell yeah!
In front of me, but truthfully, and sometimes you can see the first few rows. I remember a friend here did a show in Texas in October in a theater in Granbury where they filmed part of 1883, the Yellowstone series, the sequel. And I look out in the crowd, and that lady was holding up a sign that says, we're from Albany, Illinois. I thought, what in the heck, And I could barely see, and then I went over and put shade in my eyes, and I could see. It was my babysitter. Do you believe that? Yeah. My babysitter. I hadn't seen her in 5 or 7 years,
Wow. So
I'm talking a long time. It's been a long time since I had a babysitter. But, it was great. So I feel surprised. Of course, I grew up in between Erie and Albany on the Albany Blacktop.
Right.
So I grew up in the country, went to school in Erie, but it's Whiteside County, the farm. We've got a couple hundred acres. It's always good to keep my hands in the dirt and stay grounded when I get a chance to get back here.
And, of course, I know you've brought Dad Wes along on some of your tours, and I'm glad to see that he gets out with you once in a while.
Thanks for your kindness. He's going to be 90 in March, and he's doing great. He has no aches or pains, and he's down in Florida right now, so with age comes wisdom, So... So he's having a good time, yeah. So thank you. I will tell you. You asked about it, Tom.
I remember seeing him at your show at Wild Rose Casino over in Clinton, and I think he drew more of a crowd than you did at one point.
Hey, when we get done, that people they love to see him, and he's been to so many of our shows through the years.
Right.
I would take Mom and Dad with me to Asia and Vegas and. They would, and my son went on the road with me for a while also. So, a lot of my fans and friends got to know him, and I've been so kind and gracious, and you as well. So, thank you for your kindness.
Yep.
Greatly appreciate it.
Now, I know we had something slotted on the calendar for March, but I know the Historic Dixon Theater is doing a little bit of renovation, and you had some plans for there. I think we're going to put that down the road a little bit in 2020.
They're going to kick that can down the road a little bit. We're scheduled to do a show there in March. We sold out a show about 2.5 years ago, the Johnny Cash, Neil Diamond.
Yep.
And so they booked the show back, and then they got this grant, and your buddy Scott is just doing a fantastic job with that theater, and so many great improvements and enthusiasm. And there's a void out there. A lot of the casinos have a backed off entertainment, and so you're seeing a lot of these theaters out kicking it again,
Right.
and they're kicking it hard. I know he had Lori Morgan and wants to have Pam Tillis. Pam's a dear friend of mine, and so I'm thankful and good to see him out there. And I love Dixon and everything it stands for. And of course, I'm a Reagan fan, so another reason why I like Dixon.
Yep.
So anyway.
Now, you had a little tack on the Facebook page, but you got a new one up. Are a lot of people finding that transfer?
Yes, thank you. It's Doug Allen Nash, Facebook, and my website's, of course, DougAllenNash.com, and my YouTube page, Doug Allen Nash. You can watch different videos from this TV show and different videos that we've made through the years, and Johnny Cash's studio with John Carter Cash, some original songs that I recorded with John Carter, and the blessing that's been in our life, and then also, of course, some of the Christmas segments too from our shows. So it's been a wild ride, and we're still out here on riding it on the road. And I was just downtown Chicago for a couple of days, business and pleasure, and now I'm heading to Minneapolis tonight, and then up to the Brainerd Lakes area. So it's I love what I do, and I love people, and I love country music, and so we hope to see everybody out on the road and come up and say hi when you're out there,
Well, certainly appreciate your time. I know you're on the road as we speak, and off to another adventure, and looking forward to 2023, Doug.
Hey, thank you so much, Tom, for your kindness and the interview, and Happy New Year to you and your loved ones and all your listeners out there.
Oh, thanks you.
Again.
And to you too, and hey, we'll catch up soon.
Okay, God bless.
Hit a rhythm. When you get the blues, come on, hit a rhythm. When you get the blues, get a rock and roll feeling in your bones, put taps on the toes and get gone. Get a rhythm. When you get the blues, little shoe shambo never gets low.